But again, this is Narendra Kumar, and we are in this NCRT 10th class English lesson series, and we are in the fifth unit. In the fifth unit, there is one story, but divided into two parts. The first part, the 100 Dresses, part one, by BSOR ESLER, Sor Esler. I'm not sure whether the pronunciation is correct. We can check it, and let me start. It's a very sensitive, very beautiful story. Today, Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat. But nobody, not even, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat, in the last row, in room 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffing of feet, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough. She sit there. But now the author explains. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. On the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all. And nobody had ever heard her laugh out aloud. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of smile, but that was all. Nobody knew exactly why. Why Wanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Boggins Heights and her feet were usually caked with dry mud. But no one really thought much about Wanda Petronsky once she sat in the corner of the room. The time when they thought about Wanda was outside of school hours. At noon time, when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before school began, when groups of two or three or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the schoolyard. Then sometimes they waited for Wanda to have fun with her. The next day, Tuesday, Wanda was not to school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with other children who got good marks and who didn't track in a whole lot of mud, did notice, and they finally did notice that Wanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular girl in the school. She was pretty, she had many pretty clothes, and her hair was curly. Maddie was her closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Wanda's absence was because Wanda had made them late to school. They had waited and waited for Wanda to have some fun with her, and she just hadn't come. They often waited for Wanda Petronsky to have fun with her. So this is the cruelty of children. Very beautiful, very sensitive. Wanda Petronsky. Most of the children in room 13 didn't have names like that. They had names easy to say, like Thomas, Smith, or Alan. There was one boy named Bounce, Willie Bounce. And people thought that was funny, but not funny in the same way that Petronsky was. It was funny, the name itself was funny. This is different. Wanda didn't have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore a faded blue dress that didn't hang right. It was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch on the worn, hard ground. Wanda, Peggy would say in a most courteous manner as though she were talking to Miss Mason. Wanda, she'd say, giving her one of her friends a nudge. Tell us, how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? Teasing her about her dresses. 100. Wanda would say. 100! Exclaimed all the little girls incredulously, disbelievingly, not believing. Incredulous means not believing. And the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Yeah, 100, all lined up, said Peggy. Yeah, all silk, all colors. Velvet too. There's the fun they're having. Yeah, velvet too. 100 dresses. Wanda would repeat stolidly. Stolidly. Yeah, velvet too. 100 dresses. That's how it's stolidly. All lined up in my closet. Then they had let her go. And then, before she had gone very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. Shrieks, cry. Shrieks means SHRIEKS. Cries and peals. PEALS. Peals of shrieks only. 100 dresses. Obviously, the only dress Wanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So, why did she say she had 100? What a story. How many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs. All lined up in my closet. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike? They're like satire. They're like joking with her. All alike? Oh no, every pair is different. And all colors. All lined up. Wanda would say very strongly. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, who can't separate from her, best friend, was always the last to leave. Finally, Wanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitching her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to school alone. Peggy was not really cruel. Peggy was not really cruel. Now, here is the point. These children they're thoughtless. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies, and she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. See? If nobody had said to her, "Don't you think this is a cruel way to treat Wanda?" She should have been very surprised. Cruel? Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody could tell that this was a lie. Why did she want to be lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person. Else, why did she have a name like that? So, if you have a different name, then you are not correct. Got the point here? So the writer is very sensitive. A good person can also be cruel, indirectly. Anyway, they never made her cry. They never made her cry. We shouldn't show the crying. As for Maddie, the business of asking Wanda every day how many dresses and how many hats ma- and how many this and that she had was bothering her. Maddie was poor herself. Now, this bothers her. See? So you are empathetic with what you have experienced, right? Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Thank goodness she didn't live on Boggins Heights or have a funny name. Not that poor and with a funny name. See how important the name has become. In India also it's like that. No, your caste. Lower caste, upper caste, rich, poor. And it comes in it happens to children also. We're not talking about adults. Sometimes when Peggy was asking Wanda those questions in that mocking, polite voice, mocking polite, like satire, Maddie felt embarrassed and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand. So she used to feel bad, and you know, though she didn't rebel, she used to feel bad. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda exactly. Again, Sissy. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda exactly. So that's how they have become now. They have grown up like that. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dresses game. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next. She wasn't as poor as Wanda, perhaps, but she was poor. She was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Wanda Petronsky. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Wanda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent mindedly. 8 times 8, let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy to say, "Hey, Peg, let's stop asking Wanda how many dresses she has." When she finished her arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. Suddenly she paused and shuddered. She pictured herself in the schoolyard. A new target for Peggy. She got scared, bullied. And the girls, when Peggy might ask her where she got the dresses that she had on, and Maddie would have to say it was one of Peggy's old ones that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise to cover Peggy's dress she's wearing with her trimming, so no one in room 13 would recognize. If only Peggy would decide of her own accord means decision, to stop having fun with Wanda. Oh, well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonde hair as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away like that. Okay, what difference did it make? Slowly, Maddie tore into bits that note she had started. She was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. As for Wanda, she was just some girl who lived up on Boggins Heights and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was in the schoolyard about her 100 dresses. Maddie remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue, with colored trimmings, and she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. You'd look like a Christmas tree in that. The girls had said in pretended admiration, like joking with her. Thinking about Wanda and her 100 dresses all lined up in the closet, Maddie began to wonder who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest. For girls, this contest consisted of designing dresses, and for boys, of designing motorboats. Probably Peggy would win the girls' medal. Peggy drew better than anyone else in the room. At least that's what everybody thought. She could copy a picture in a magazine or some film star's head so that you could almost tell who it was. She was very good at copying. Oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. Well, tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winners. Then they'd known. They'd know. The next day it was drizzling, rain falling slightly. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. Naturally, on a day like this, they didn't wait for Wanda Petronsky on the corner of Oliver Street, the street that far away under the railroad tracks and up the hill led to Hoggins Heights, to the heights. Anyway, they weren't taking chances on being late today because today was important. Do you think Miss Mason will announce the winners today? Asked Peggy. Oh, I hope so. The minute we get in, said Maddie. Of course, you will win, Peg. Hope so, said Peggy eagerly, with a lot of interest. The minute they entered the classroom, they stopped short. Stopped short means suddenly stopped short and gasped. Gasped like that. There were drawings all over the room. On every ledge and window sill. Dazzling colors and brilliant. Lavish designs, full, lovely colors. Generously put colors, lavish designs, all drawn on great sheets of wrapping paper. There must have been 100 of them, all lined up. These must be the drawings for the contest. They were. Everybody stopped and whistled. Wow! Or murmured admiring, wow, like that. You know how children do. As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Mason announced the winners. Jack Beggies had won for the boys, she said, and his designs for an outboard motor was an on exhibition in room 12, along with the sketches by all the other boys. As for the girls, she said, although just one or two sketches were submitted by most, One or two only were submitted by most. One girl. One girl. And room 13 should be proud of her. This one girl actually drew 100 designs. All different and all beautiful. In the opinion of the judges, any one of the drawings is worthy of winning the prize. Any one is worthy of winning the prize. They were so brilliant. I'm very happy to say that Wanda Petronsky is the winner of the girls' medal. You can guess that. Unfortunately, Wanda had been absent from school for some days and is not here to receive the applause. Teacher is saying that is due to an applause that is due to her. Let us hope she will be back tomorrow. Now, class, you may file around the room, go around the room quietly and look at her exquisite, very beautiful design. Exquisite means very brilliant, exquisite. Very beautiful, fine. Exquisite is very fine, delicate, everything. Exquisite drawings. The children burst into applause. And even the boys were glad to have a chance to stamp on the floor, put their fingers in their mouths and whistle, though they were not interested in dresses. Look, Peg, whispered Maddie. There's that blue one she told us about. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, said Peggy. And here's that green one, boy. And I thought I could draw. So here she was very honest. Have you noticed? She was very honest, these two girls also. And that ends the part one. There's a part two of the same story. And we'll do that in the next video. Thank you.